First and foremost, want to thank the fans, and I also, in the same breath, want to apologize to the fans. So I want to thank them because everybody showed up tonight, showed out. It was amazing. It's fun to walk into an arena in a big game, meaningful games in February and March, to see people out there supporting us and to answer the bell. I mean, when we called and you answered, it means a lot to me and it means a lot to our program. Don't take that for granted. But I do apologize for the way we played tonight, and that is strictly a reflection of me and our preparation. And so I will take this one on the chin. Didn't do a good enough job of getting our guys ready. We lacked fight, we lacked competitiveness, we lacked heart, and that's not who we are. But to that point, you know, it's adversity is going to hit you, things are going to happen, and at the end of the day, you're judged on how you respond to these situations. And I told our guys in the locker room, like, our response is always everything. How we respond is going to say a lot about who we are and who this team and the program is at this point in time. And so it's very disappointing to see the lack of effort that we were supposed to have and the lack of competitiveness from the jump. But I'll tip my cap to Fort Wayne. They came out, punched us in the mouth. We didn't punch back. They were the punchers, and we tried to counterpunch, and our punches they were more like high fives tonight. They weren't really punches.
Last game, big call to action for the fans. Come out, very passionate about it. Then this is the result. Obviously, you have an apology, but I personally heard some fans who are very frustrated. What would you like to say to them?
Not good enough. Not good enough. I mean, it's like, look, at the end of the day, you know, you talk about if you build it, they will come, and we've been building it, and we're still building it, and this is all part of the process. Like, you're going to win games, you're going to lose games. At the end of the day, we haven't had a game like this that I've felt since Oklahoma or Iowa State. And so in the course of a year, you're going to have games, and you're going to stumble a little bit. But it doesn't excuse the lack of competitiveness. And so, yeah, if I'm a fan, guess what? I'm frustrated. I'd be frustrated too because I'm frustrated as a coach. Like, I'm frustrated with our performance. And so the beautiful part about being a fan is that you get to wear it emotionally like I get to wear it emotionally a little bit. They get to decide whether or not they want to come back. Me, I don't get to decide that. I'm coming back tomorrow. There's no choice. I'm going to be in that locker room. I'm going to be in that practice tomorrow. Our guys are going to be in the locker room. They're going to be in practice tomorrow. The only choice is that we got to go back to work. And you're going to have bad days. It's okay. As human beings, we're allowed to have bad days. That's the bring your own juice mantra. Is you can have bad days, but you cannot have down days. Because down days is when you bring everybody else down. And today was a down day in our program for our short tenure that we've been here. It is a down day. And we brought a lot of people down tonight. We brought them out. We brought them down. And that's unacceptable. And I take that full responsibility. So I'm thanking the fans because that meant a lot to me and it meant a lot to our guys. But equally, like I told you in the same breath, I'm gonna apologize to him for that performance.
Obviously, you're not going to put it all on one guy, but Noah's obviously sitting on the bench with a boot on there. Could you tell us what happened and any prognosis on what you're thinking?
Yeah, lower leg injury day to day. He'll be back, like all competitors are. So I speak on that right there. But we didn't win or lose this game because Noah Reynolds wasn't playing. I mean, the same team and the same guys went on the road to Youngstown, beat the second best team in the league, essentially at the time, on the road without Noah, and showed a lot of fight and a lot of heart and a lot of resilience. And I referenced the Tim Tebow speech to our guys. I mean, there's moments like this where you just want a locker room of guys to sit there and go, you know what, it's unacceptable, and we're going to respond the right way, and we're going to step up. Regardless of outcome, regardless of circumstance, that's about the thing about showing up, is that you have to show up regardless of circumstance, the same way every single day, if you want to be a consistent program.
Will, how is it different without Noah on the court, though? And does it take a bit to get used to his presence not being there?
I mean, you know, he's a player of the year type guy, so obviously his presence is going to be missed. But all year we've kind of had a next man up mentality, and like you said, at Youngstown we really showed that. But tonight I think we just kind of thought it was just going to come again, like Youngstown just happened because we just went out there and played, you know. But it was just unacceptable tonight, and that starts on the upperclassmen and the leaders of this team. And like you said, they came out and punched us in the face, and we had no response, and just kind of feel sick about the whole performance.
Sonny, kind of an interesting question, but the video that you guys posted, the fun video, obviously, shows your personality and everything. But I heard some fans say that it seemed distracting from the basketball. I can see you shaking your head there. No, do you want to touch on that first?
I mean, that's not what that is. Like, it's a fun. I mean, you got like 300,000 views. It was good for the program. Shows their personality. Like, you want coaches to have personality, so that didn't distract any of us. That's not at all what that was.
And what would your response to that?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this 1,000 times. Like, I'm on social media. I do those things. Like, that's not what defines our program. At the end of the day, like, part of this job is you want people in the community. You want people to engage. You want people to show up. Like, it's part of the marketing propaganda. You have to do it. If I sat back in a corner of my office and never talked to anybody, never went out in the community, never went and said anything to anybody, said hi or said boo, like, then nobody would feel connected. I'd rather people feel like that was a distraction and we get 300,000 views and we get a bunch of people talking about Green Bay basketball than the opposite of that, which is nobody talking about us and nobody wanting to be around the program and nobody wanting to be involved. Like, the real ones know. Like, people that showed up here for the first time, it's the first time they've seen us play, they're going to have an opinion of it, that's fine. At the end of the day, like, we know who we are, we know our core, and we know what we stand for and what we've been doing all year long. And I told our guys, one game doesn't define you. There's a body of work out there that still has to be done. But, you know, once again, let's not forget, like, expectations from the community always change when they happen so suddenly. When you went from 3 wins to now 17 and you won, 16, which is all you won in the last 3 years, and now you're at 17 and you want more. I get it. I want more too. Like, we're greedy in that sense. Like, we want all the wins and we want all the success we could possibly have. But at the end of the day, like, let's not forget the mountain that we are still climbing, because there is a mountain that we are climbing. And so it hasn't changed from that point of view. But to say, or anybody for that matter, to say anything on social media is a distraction, it's a distraction if you let it be one. Like, our guys, like, they know. I'm out there. We do this stuff. This is what we do. I've done it everywhere I've ever been. So that's not going to change. So you're still going to see me on social media and you're still going to see those tweets.
Is Preston okay? I saw him kind of walking it off a little bit.
It's cramped up.
Just
It's cramped up.
Okay. How's the team going to respond? You have a big game coming up in just a couple days.
Wish I knew the answer to that. We're going to find out in 48 hours.
We'll respond. We'll be good. We'll be done.
Thank you.
He got 19 points from Will, season high. He's stepped up in some big games here. As a senior leadership, do you look to your seniors for step, opportunities when the team's down at times?
At this point in the season, you're going to rely on guys who've been in a lot of fights. You're going to make me get a little emotional here talking about Will, but I want to save that for the days, for the days when it's done. But I mean, I remember when this guy came to Mo West, a little scrawny freshman, a lot of piss and vinegar about him, talking a lot of trash out there, redshirting. It was freshman of the year, and helped us flip a program that had won 6 and 7 wins respectively to 12 and then 18 and 14, and took a program to a place it hadn't been. He's doing the same thing here. Same thing here that he did for us at Missouri Western. He's doing it right here at Green Bay. And I said in the locker room that, like, guys like Marcus Hall and those young guys, they need to look at guys that have been here 6 years and ran this race and realize, like, how available he is, how consistent he is, the type of human being he is, the type of, like, everyday accountable, right? Consistent, everyday accountable dude, Will Eames. And he's going to be that first down the stretch, because you're going to need guys that have been in serious moments to play serious basketball. And if we want to do anything, we're going to need our older guys. We need our young guys to play and step up, but they haven't been in a lot of these moments. They haven't been in a lot of these moments at all. This guy, he ain't going to flinch. He ain't going to flinch because he's been on games with me. We're being on the sideline in our first year, second year, down 20. Been in those games. Been in those games where we upset teams, top 25 teams. Been in those games. And so, like, that's what I know about Will come down the stretch here. Like, it's just going to only keep getting better for him. And the best players, they play their best basketball in February and March. And a lot of times when you look at those best players, a lot of times they're older guys. And if you got a young guy who's playing really good basketball in February and March, that's a special guy.
Sonny, every time that you talk, it's always an analogy towards life. Sometimes in life you get punched in the mouth. You say you're not as good as your best win, not as bad as your worst loss.
Yep.
So as you get the team ready for literally 48 hours less than now, do you make it a life analogy to this and just say brush it off and move?
I mean, success is never permanent, failure is never fatal, right? And so if just because you win a game you think you're going to win all the games, it's fool's gold. And just because you lose a game you're thinking you lose the rest of your games, it's fool's gold, right? So at the end of the day, like, we tell our guys, everything is about the response. So many things happen throughout the course of a day, little small adversities, right? Like, I was tying my shoe before the game today, all right? My shoelace broke. I got these shoes on. I'm in my room. I'm in my office. I'm doing a nice routine, and, like, all of a sudden the shoelace snaps right in half. Now, some people don't think that's a big deal, but that's a micro adversity right there when you only got that much of a shoelace left to tie the 2 bows that you're waiting for on your shoe. Now, how am I going to respond to that adversity there, Trevor? Like, how am I going to respond to that? Well, I'm going to look at my shoelace, I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to try to rig it in a way that it still looks like a functional shoelace. And at the end of the day, you're going to move on. That's a micro adversity. Out there, that's a micro adversity. In 2 years, people aren't going to look back and be like, oh, remember that game on that night where they played this team and like this is what happened? Like it just happens. It's just a blip on the radar. In 50 years from now, you're going to look back in your college career, and you know what you're going to remember? You're going to remember the time you got your butt kicked, though. You're going to remember those times. I remember all the times I got my butt kicked. Because those times, the times you get your butt kicked and when you got to dust yourself off and get back up and go back out on a hunt, like those times when you get your butt kicked and life knocks you down, you remember those because that's when you got to go take care of a sick child. That's when you're sick yourself and you want to sit in bed all day, but you got to go care for a 2-year-old or a 4-year-old. Or that's where something tragic happens, and you got to go step up and you got to go be a man, and you can't worry about these things. Like all these are vehicles for the lessons that we're about to experience for the next 40 years of our life, and these guys are going to be prepared. You know why? Because I'm on them, and I'm telling them like we need more competitiveness because you're gonna get to a point in life where you're gonna feel like you want to just quit and shut it down. It's too hard, and you're gonna remember the time you got your butt kicked and you had to get back up the next morning and go to practice. And it ain't gonna stop you. The real ones, they just keep fighting through, man. They just keep showing up every single day, day after day. The real ones just keep showing up. And while it hurts, it's probably the most impactful time. It's probably the most impactful time to fight through that pain because the pain is cleansing.